So it looks like the Bahar Mustafa saga continues, and that's why I'm making this video. Um, I did touch on this in a few, well, two previous videos. Um, the issue here really isn't so much about her, but about the wider implications of those who make excuses for her. If you haven't seen my previous videos, the context of this is that Bahar Mustafa is a 27-year-old woman at Goldsmiths College in London, which is quite a prominent institution there. And basically, she was elected to the post of diversity officer or welfare and diversity officer of the Students' Union. Now, she attracted controversy with a Facebook post in which she turned away white people and especially white men from an event that was intended for solely BME means black minority ethnic women only. Now, that's bad enough, but this woman has a consistently negative and divisive attitude. She posted a tweet, calling to kill all white men, okay? Um, and she has a long record, from what I've seen of her, of stirring up animosity towards, well, her issue seems to be against white guys. My position is this. If, as a progressive society, we are to condemn and have disdain for discrimination and bigotry, that should be universal. Either you take the stance that these attitudes are wrong, full stop, or you don't really believe it. If you're going to say, oh, well, this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong, but hey, she can do it because she's an ethnic minority woman, then I'm afraid you're a hypocrite. And that's actually her alibi. She says, I can't be racist because I'm an ethnic minority woman. So let's examine this a little bit. Firstly, I think it's a disgrace that Goldsmiths is allowing her to stay in her position. Now, I wouldn't make such an issue of this if it wasn't for the fact that there are a lot of people out there who are making excuses for her. And whilst there was a petition to get her sacked, signed by about 20,000 people, there's now a counter petition to defend her. And already it has 2,500 signatures. So those 2,500 people seem to think there is absolutely nothing wrong with her attitudes. Needless to say, imagine if this had been almost anybody else. I wasn't even going to say imagine if this had been a white guy making the comments. Imagine if it had been an Asian man making the comments, say sexist comments. No way would he be allowed to continue in that position. So clearly it's unacceptable. And what we need to be clear about here is we're not talking about a naive teenager who said something foolish after a few too many drinks. We all make mistakes. The thing about Bahar Mustafa is she clearly really believes in the things that she is saying. So as far as I'm concerned, she's a despicable bigot. And I really don't think a public educational institution should be placating her because what she's doing is creating a divisive atmosphere on campus. Blatantly, she doesn't care about the whole student body. Now, how can you have a welfare and diversity officer who has a specific agenda against a specific group? That just is the height of irony and the height of inconsistency. I would have thought the whole point of a welfare and diversity officer was to be tolerant to the entire student body and not actively promote hatred against a specific group. But there's a specific attitude here I want to address, and that is this notion that because she is a minority, looking at her name, I'm guessing that is of Persian background. I don't know. I'm just guessing. But she identifies herself as an ethnic minority woman, and therefore it's okay. I think that's a joke. I think it's an utter joke. I mean, what she's doing with that is basically giving herself a mantle of victimhood in order to condone her own ignorance and stupidity. Um, I I really have quite a tough line on this, in that you cannot use a victimhood mentality to justify your attitude against an entire demographic. So just because you're part of a group that may have suffered racism and sexism, and I've no problem with the students' union or a diversity officer taking into account issues where there may be racism against, for example, ethnic minority students, if that is an issue. But you can't take that approach. You cannot sort of use counter discrimination as a way to tackle discrimination. It just discrimination is discrimination is discrimination. It's as simple as that. It's not complicated. It's not rocket science. So really, I'm quite angry that the institution is allowing her to stay in her post, because all that's going to do is create a divisive atmosphere on campus. Now, if I was a white guy at Goldsmiths, so I wouldn't, I'm not there, so I can't say that I'd feel intimidated or something, but I'd be pretty angry because I would feel like there's a green light for people to hate me simply because of something that is beyond my control, and the university doesn't care. I think that's an utter disgrace. Now, clearly, people are not going to go out and kill white guys as a result of her tweet, but that is not the point. It really isn't the point. And again, this isn't the case whereby she's done something stupid and she's retracted and said she's sorry. She doesn't give a damn. Um, and again, we're not talking about a naive teenager. She's 27 years old. So, um, I just think it is unfortunate that there are people willing to make excuses for her because of their perception that because she's a minority, it's okay to have that attitude. I argue it just isn't. It just isn't. It's not rocket science. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Okay? Um, and like I say, in a progressive society, we should be condemning this universally. Full stop. And I just can't understand how anyone could rationally try to even begin to advocate it. Now, if she has personally been a victim of racism or sexism, she would have my sympathy. But I lose all sympathy when she then goes to stigmatizing and demonizing an entire group. Let's say the scenario is that she may have suffered racism, right? Well, then she would have every right to have the stay at the individual or individuals responsible, and action should be taken against them. But to extend that to demonizing an entire race, an entire demographic, white males, is ridiculous. Now, the problem here is that there is a perception that white males enjoy massive privilege. Um, I, I, I'm not one of these people that say that white males are the most downtrodden of society. It's not like that. But it is wrong to say that all white males are privileged. Blatantly, that is wrong. I mean, pretty much every homeless person I see is a white male. So what's her attitude towards that? I don't see much privilege there. The point with this is, I am very suspicious of people who try to stir up divisions in society, and she fits right into that category. She's no different from a white supremacist. She's no different from people who go out there and ramble on about a so-called white genocide, which there isn't, incidentally. But just like any racist, she has her alibis, she has her excuses. So to hell with her. I really have contempt for this woman because I think what she is doing is stirring up a divisive environment on a public educational campus, and I think it's an utter disgrace. And I think she should be called out for her bullshit. Called out is a sort of American term, but I'm using it. I think she should be exposed. I think she should be challenged. And I hope she realizes that in the future, if she is if she is portrayed as an extremist, she's no one but herself to blame. In other words, if she is remembered as, oh, Bahar Mustafa, that extremist, the racist, she can't complain about it. She has many opportunities here to retract and say, look, I was wrong. I'll step down voluntarily. She's not doing it, which shows that she has no remorse whatsoever. So shame on Goldsmiths for not taking any. The very fact that they're allowing her to stay in that position says a lot about that institution, and I believe they should suffer in terms of the reputation as a result. I hope they lose their student intake. I hope their reputation gets damaged. There's no one but themselves to blame.